Hey everybody, welcome to the Tone Church. Got another exciting episode for you today. We're going to be building the pedal of the month for November of 2023. And after we do that, we're going to give it away to one of my Patreon supporters. How cool is that? Cool guitar, right? This thing's bitchin'. Yeah. Anyway, without further ado, let's see what we're going to be building. Here we go. Okay, today on the workbench, we have a pedal PCB Danae Overdrive. That was terrible. Let's do that again. Fall flat. Just ain't gonna work like I wanted to. Yeah, whatever. Today on the workbench, we have the pedal PCB Danae Overdrive. Is that how you pronounce that? Danae? Dana? Danae? That thing. And this is a PCB to build a clone of a properly spelled Vemuram TSV808. It's supposed to be their version of a tube screamer. I was going to build something different, but then this morning I woke up and put on the old YouTube and I noticed a whole bunch of videos all coming out at the same time. Vemuram put out the new Michael Landau thingamahoosit. So I said, hey, we like jumping on bandwagons. Let's do it. All right. So anyway, from what little research that I've done, this is supposed to be inspired by or a modified or improved tube screamer. Well, let's see how true that is. We're going to have to take you off of Mr. Tripod here, or you won't be able to see anything. So I apologize in advance for shaky cam. Okay, so here is the schematic that Pedal PCB has provided. And here is a schematic that is upside down of a classic tube screamer. Thank you, Electro Smash, for providing this. So the tube screamer has a buffered bypass, so you can skip all this. We don't have that on the Vemuram. Tube screamer has an input buffer with an NPN, right? NPN transistor. The Vemuram does not. This is the input from your guitar. It has a 1 meg, what's the word I'm looking for? Input resistor. Set your impedance, and it goes straight into a non-inverting OPA 2134 dual op amp. Alright, so over here we need to skip the input buffer, and then this is where we're kind of similar. Coming in, guitar signal comes in, non-inverting, and this is a 1458 dual op amp. And people make a big deal about these op amps. They're, you know, very, very similar. You'd be hard-pressed to find a whole lot of difference, in my experience. Other people will disagree. Anyway, go into the op amp. We come out, and we have our soft clipping with 2 diodes. Come over here. Now this is going down, drawn down instead of above it, but it's the same thing. Go into the non-inverting, we come out, and we have 2 sets of diodes in reverse orientation, just like up here. But we have some options here. We have some switches on the Vemuram. I hope this is in focus. And signal can come in and go through 2 diodes on each side. Or if the switch is on, it'll just skip one of the diodes. And there's a switch for each set. So you can have 1 diode one way, 1 diode the other way, 2 and 1, 2 and 2, 1 and 2, whatever. You can have every combination. And that way you can have extra clipping with the 2 diodes in series. Or you can have asymmetrical where you have 1 diode on one side, 2 on the other. Alright, so that's that. That's just like a little extra gizmo added onto this. We have our 51 picofarad capacitor in both sides. And what else do we have here? We have our drive level or distortion level. And again, this is the feedback loop that feeds back into the inverting section of the op amp and mixes with the original signal. So the way this works is, from what I understand, is if you had no resistance here, no resistors, you just fed straight back into the inverting. It's basically a duplicate of your guitar signal, but the inverting section of the op amp will invert it. So now you have two equal but opposite guitar signals and it will cancel out. That's why when you increase the inline resistance, the more this amplifies and the more distortion you'll get. And that is basically the same on both sides. Now this has a little bit of a tail here. That's probably a little bit of tone shaping. But on the Vemuram, we got all this junk right here. The Tube Screamer, as everybody knows, just has a tone control. The Vemuram has bass, treble, and saturation. And it's starting to get a little bit above my pay grade, but what I believe is happening here is we have the signal coming down through here. And I know it says VREF here, we're thinking of voltage coming in here. But if we follow that down, VREF goes through a capacitor to ground. So this provides a path for our guitar signal to hit ground. And what I believe is happening here, using these resistors and capacitors in line, and this potentiometer, is we're sending bass signal to ground and basically eliminating it from the circuit. The saturation, kind of the same idea. Really don't know how that's working. If you know how that's working, let us all know down in the comment section. Anyway, back up here. We clipped our signal. We came in, we clipped our signal. Came out, we have our treble here, treble control. What will this do? We can, if we have the knob turned all the way one direction. Oh, I see what's going on here. Okay, so we have a resistor and capacitor network, like so. And a very small, relatively sized capacitor, 82 nanofarads. And combined with the amount of resistance up here, the resistance, which is adjustable with this pot, kind of sets the knee on how much of the high signal we're sending to ground. All right, so you got a treble control. And I believe if we go back over here, this section we have the tone control. All right, which is a little bit different than having a separate bass and treble control. All right, next on the Tube Screamer, we have a volume makeup stage. You know, we clipped the signal, sent it through tone. This is just going to amplify, you know, our clipped and tone modified signal back up to a reasonable level again and send it out. And they're using the non-inverting input here. And the same as over here. We get clipped, we get toned, go into the non-inverting section here. We have a modest 12K resistor here to boost our signal. That's the amount of gain that this is doing. Go through a coupling capacitor, have our volume control, and that's basically, you know, like a handle on a faucet. How much of all this signal you either let pass on to your guitar amplifier, or how much of it you set to ground and, you know, make it not audible. Back over here, out of the gain makeup stage, we are getting back into the bypass buffer, which the Vemuram does not have. And again, we have an output buffer, which the Vemuram does not have. And we probably have a volume control, and then we go out. So, as you can see, there are quite a few differences between the Vemuram and the Tube Screamer. Can we really call this pedal a Tube Screamer? I mean, it's very similar in its clipping, but 99.9% of overdrive pedals use something extremely similar to what you see here. I don't know where the Tube Screamer moniker or comparison came from. maybe even come from Vemuram themselves, but I guess Theseus's ship could arguably be the same thing, but whatever. That's a moot point. Who cares? Does it sound good? Well, let's put it together and find out. Hang tight. Here we go. Bam! That didn't take long at all. Maybe an hour. Maybe not even. What are we going to do next here? We're going to clean all the schmoosh off of the back of this board. Use a little isopropyl alcohol, get all that out of there. And then we'll add the switches and pots. Alright, things have descended into a mess, as they usually and often do, or often and usually do, or whatever. I'm just stalling for time here. Bam! Here she is. Looks pretty good. Went together real quick. I don't know how long I've been working on this. Maybe an hour and a half, something like that. Got our on switches. Our 5 pots. Oh, hey, check this out, pedal PCB. You guys in your documentation, how many pots do we need to buy? Can anyone tell me? That's right, 5. Anyway, here's our pedal with 5 controls and 2 switches. What are we going to do? We're going to do this guy right here. I've been really digging these breakout boards from pedalpcb.com for your bypass switch, true bypass switching. Switch goes here. Switch goes there. How do we know? Ask me how we know. Let's see here if we can get a better shot. Yeah, whatever. That'll work. Yeah, these little guys are a lot better than, you know, putting in jumpers and you get the one wire going from one corner to the... Yeah. This is so much easier. So we're going to try and center that the best we can. Little dab will do you. Can you see all that? Can you see? The real me? Doctor? There we go. And we want to try and get in and out of here real quick. Trying not to heat the switch up any more than is absolutely necessary, because that will destroy your switch. And you can also file that little tidbit into the Ask Me How I Know file. Who's left? You and you. Bam. That's all she wrote. Yeah. All she wrote. And for these, I like using these ribbons. I gotta order some 4 conductor ribbons, because with these, the outer 2 lugs go to the tips or the hots of your input and output jack. So I'll just cut 2 off of this and use it, and then after I do that twice, I have 2 of those, which I'll use for here. Anyway, let's left here. We're going to put our 2 jacks on. Jacks on, jacks off. Our 9-volt power supply. The aforementioned foot switch. And then we can rock and roll. Alright, let's do it.
Day 2.
Happy Sunday morning. Look at that. We've been busy. You see that? How about now? How about now? How about now? We got the Dream Screamer. I spent way too much time last night trying to be clever, and, you know, there really is no good, you know, things from Judeo-Christian literature that you can shoehorn vacuum tube screamer into. So we just ended up with Dream Screamer. The Dreamer Screamer. Hopefully no one's using that. Can't believe no one isn't. The only thing left to do is to socket a 2134 dual op amp. We'll do that now. Because this is exciting entertainment right here, I assure you. Here is our Chinese sourced 2134, who's upside down. You'll see there's a little divot right here. And if we go to the left, that's pin 1. If you install your socket correctly with the little divot where it's supposed to be, line the 2 divots up and you shan't have any problems other than sourcing your dual op amps from China. It's hit or miss. Worst case scenario, we'll pop a TLO 72 in here that we have. Nice known good ones. And what I like to do is stick one side of the little feet in the sockets, and then on the other side just kind of line up the other feet. And then it'll sort of work its way in. Boom. There she is. Alright. Let's plug her into something. See how we did. We're rolling. Rolling. Dude, this friggin' pedal right here rocks. It might be too good to give away, but we're gonna do it anyway. I can always build another one. Yes, we can. Got the new Telecaster-shaped object I assembled last weekend. Or finished assembling last weekend. Kent Armstrong, whatever those are in the pickups. Fender Bandmaster, Drip Edge 68, going into a Fender 2x15 cab. Got a little bit of reverb over here. This is clean sound. Yeah, you get the idea. Yeah, you can see all the knobs. Gain's all the way down. Still a shit guitar player. F. Not exactly sure what that saturation knob does, but does something, I'm sure. I think we like it up here. Is that the right note? I don't think it is. Bass. How much fun was that? This thing sounds great. I love it. Yeah, it sounds sort of like a tube screamer, except we have treble and bass instead of having a tone. We can add a little bit of extra here by putting these over in the 5th gear on each of these, or any combination that you want. Not a huge difference, but you can hear the gets a little more compression. The volume goes down a little bit, and that's how you know it's working. So you just make a little tweak to that. The volume goes back to where it should be, even though we can't see it because we're full of shadows. But anyway, definitely in the same sounding type of pedals as a tube screamer. Definitely mid-forward. Does that thing that we all like them to do with a nice Fender style amplifier. This pedal sounds awesome. Came out great. If you want this exact pedal, go over to my Patreon. November 1st, we're going to do it 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Daylight Savings, whatever it is. Eastern my time. We're going to do a little drawing for my Patreon supporters. And, yeah, somebody's going to win this. Came out great. Love it. Hopefully you did too. Alright, thank you very much for watching. I want to thank all my Patreon subscribers. Thank you to all of my YouTube subscribers. Anyone that gives me one of those. Anybody that watched the video. Anybody that commented. Anybody that hugged their mom today. I want to thank you too. Alright, rock on everybody. Yeah.
Done.